Hi everybody, this is the website boy from the websiteboy.com. You can Google me if you want. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about arrays. Arrays are um, just like variables, but the difference is that you can hold many different values inside arrays. Very useful in programming. It's something that you're going to be using all the time when you're programming. I'm in my PHP directory, my local server right here, localhost. And if you don't know how to do that, go back to the videos, to the first one, and you will find out how to do that. This is a playlist, a list of videos, and you can refer back to the last videos. But anyway, let me just show you real quick how we use arrays in PHP. First, I'm going to show you this would be a variable right here, and as you know, we can hold just one value in a variable. You cannot hold multiple values. You cannot do this in a variable. All right. You can hold just one value in a variable and you can refer to that value by either displaying it or doing something with it, right? On the screen. Um, and that's it, right? Well, an array is very similar to a variable, but we refer to an array like this, right? And then we put the name of the array right here in a variable because we refer to an array by using a variable. It's really cool, right? So let's say I have an array here called array. Let's just make it a different name so that doesn't confuse you. Let's say I have an array called list. All right, and I want to put different values in here. So I'm going to put right here, I want to put a number, and I want to put another array. So as you can see here, I'm using different things in here. We can put any kind of value inside an array and it will hold it for us. So it's basically a variable. It's a supercharged variable because it will contain many different values inside. So I already made my array. I put the values inside my array and I refer to it by having a variable. All right. And this is how I define it. Now, an array has invisible indices. What do I mean with indices? Well, each of these spots right here, this one is separated by quotes, meaning it's a string. This is a number. This is another spot. It's separated with a comma. Each of them are separated with a comma. All right. This means that each of these is a spot on this array. An array has invisible indices, meaning it has invisible spots. And this first spot is called a zero. Is the index 0. This is the index 1 and this is the index 2. Every array in every programming language starts with 0. I think 99.9%. I don't know one language that doesn't start with 0. So if I want to print out this value or use this value from this array, I will have to use a 0 value name here, right? So let's say, for example, let me just not confuse you and show you the invisible spots of this array. All right, so let's say I want to print out this value on this array right on the array called list. I want to print out the first value of it, which is Edwin, right? So I say echo the name of the array. All right, and I'm going to refer to it by square brackets. This is how we use the array information, how we refer to the each index. And the index, the first one I told you, is an invisible number called 0. This is the first value of the array if you want to use it. And we refresh, and as you can see, it just print out the first value. So it's an invisible value called 0. If I want to print out the next value, is a 1 because every array starts with 0, but doesn't mean that is the name of the value, right? So I mean, it starts with 0, but we know this is number 1, of course, but it starts with 0. So get used to it. And we refresh, and number 1 is, which is the second one, is number 23. And now, how do we refer to another array inside this array, right? That's crazy, isn't it? So let's say number 2 and refresh, and now we get an error. Actually, this is not an error. This is a notice. It's telling us that it's doing string conversion, all right, on line 17, but it's still giving us the value. So it's telling us that this spot right here, this index 2, right here, the spot 0, 1, 2 has an array in there. And how do we print out the value inside this spot number 2, which is an array? We actually use another square brackets, and we say, because this only has one value and it's number 1, right? So we use another square bracket and we put number 0. Let's make sure we close it with a semicolon, save it, refresh it, and now you can see that I'm printing out the value on the second array. All right, so how do we print out the whole array? Because if we go like this, right, and save it and refresh it, we get a notice and it's telling us, listen, this is an array, but we don't see the values of the array. How can we see that? How do we put another square bracket in there and refresh? No, we get an error for that. And we can go ahead and do this, right, and then do this, and start printing out values like that, right? But that's too messy. That takes a lot of time, right? There is an easier way. Let's use a function called print underscore r, and then inside this function is a pre-built function by PHP. Then we put the name of the array, which is list. We don't need the square brackets in there. Print r, we know that we are talking about an array because that's what it does. It prints our array values. We save it, and then we see the whole array in a format that we can understand. As you can see here, the index is referred in square brackets, right? And he's saying in index 0, we have, that's what this arrow means, we have a value of Edwin, right? We have this value here, string. And then on this spot number 1 or index number 1, we have a value, that's what this arrow means, 23 and 2 and so on, right? And here in 2, we have an array, and inside this array we have in the spot number 0, which is the index 0, have the value second 1, right? We can actually make this prettier if we wanted to. Let's close this out right here, so that way we can use we can make this prettier. We can close this out and use a pre tag. This is it's an HTML tag, all right, to make things a little prettier. And we can use a PHP right here, right? We don't need this one here, and then we can go ahead and go like this, right? So what I did is I closed this PHP tag in there and made a new one down here, and so that way I can use HTML tags in there. All right, so now you can see the array is even indented for us. So we see the first array has these 3 indexes, 3 values in there, and we can see the values right here in each index. And then we see the second array right here, and we see the first value, the only value for that array. We can make it pretty like that, and we can see it. This is for us to see. The regular person would not be able to see that. We don't want them to see our values of our arrays when we're using it for databases and things like that. But anyway, this is what arrays are. Again, as a recap, arrays are containers that we can use to put different values in there and refer to them by their order of indexes. Okay, so anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you like it. If you like it enough, favorite, tweet it, put it on Facebook, help me out, make it famous. Anyways, I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial, right? All right, bye.